You guys. Very, very important. How many of you have worn a suit over here? Worn a suit? A full blazer, jacket, fully formal. How many of you have done that? Dressed formally? No one? One person. Two, three, four, five, six, seven. Any more? Arey yaar, you guys should do that. I'll come to that. Why? How many of you watch TV shows over here? Oops. Of course. How many of you have watched Suits? Harvey Specter, of course. Okay, we have some people here. This is amazing. How many of you have watched any show that was related to business? Anything? Shark Tank. Shark Tank, come on. Harit, this is wonderful. Anything else? Any startup related show? Any business related show? Any investment banking related show? Any tech related show? Anything? Which one? Podcasts, wonderful. Anything else? That's it, I guess. Okay. Today I'm going to talk a lot about different things apart from academics. I don't want to talk academics because everyone who comes here talks about it. What I want to tell you guys today is all about being industry ready, being motivated in life, being driven for career success, etc., etc. And I feel the most important thing that I'm going to teach you today is probably how to dream, because dreams are what lead to reality, and reality is where we want to be at. Okay. With that being said, let me give you guys a small introduction about myself. Who am I? How did I end up here? I like this picture. Please tell me this is fine. LinkedIn वाला photo है. ठीक लगता है ना? Thank you. It doesn't even look like me sometimes. Who edited it? But so I started my journey in Mumbai when I was a kid. I lived there for 10 years. I was in Lokhandwala complex, a great place where all struggling actors live. Literally struggling actors. You know Moni Roy. Of course, everyone knows Moni Roy. If the guys don't know, I don't know you guys. But she used to come to our business. We had a gym back in Mumbai. She used to come there. And so many more. Udit Narayan's son, Aditya Narayan. He is not the best people in the world. I'm not saying that, but he also did come to our gym. So I had a lot of exposure growing up that way. But then reality strikes, gym crashed, recession happened. We couldn't afford Mumbai, we moved to Pune. Happens, life goes up and down. Once we came to Pune, I first went to Blossom Public School over here. I was there for 2 years, seventh and eighth. Probably not the best time of my life, especially coming from Mumbai. It was a big change, big difference. And being a kid, it was very difficult to adapt, 100%. But then I moved to Indira, right across. Not that big a difference, but it worked. I found good friends over there, good batch, and this is very important because this was one of those defining steps in my life, how everything has been. At Indira, there were a lot of kids who were children of US returned parents, who were kids of big businessmen here and there. So the crowd changed a little bit. Um, there was a little more privilege over there for sure, but that led to a lot of exposure in the right direction for me. Okay. After that, 11th and 12th, I went to the Orchid School in Baner. And my only good story from there, apart from all the stupid things I've done, was the son of Bajaj scooters. Rahul Bajaj's son was in my class. So now you have a person who's worth $7.5 billion sitting right beside you. My funniest story with him was he went on a trip to, I think, Hong Kong or something. And someone asked him randomly, "तो business class ही travel करता है, right?" उसका कोई तो दोस्त आया बाजू से and he said, "तू गलत क्वेश्चन पूछा, उसको पूछ ब्लैक वाले जेट में गया था कि व्हाइट वाले जेट में." And that's where you're like, oh my God, that is the scale of the world. This is how big things can be. And when people don't have exposure, what happens is you're limited by your thought. But my goal today is to give you stories like this, where you realize that, hey, the world is a big place. There is so much that can happen around. Okay. After doing that, I ended up again in JSPM. तुम लोग ऐसे बोल रहे हो as if this is a bad place. Maybe not. Okay. I'll tell you what happened over here. When I came here, I came here because I wanted to do game development, game design. That is exactly why I thought, doing engineering in IT is going to prepare me for coding. I will be a good game designer and we'll go ahead from there. I told my dad to buy me a nice big expensive gaming computer to build games, not to play games, but to build games. I built 2 games. But then I got bored. I was like, hey, chhod do. But that computer was my gateway into gaming. So I could play GTA 5 on that. It worked well. And now, throughout that first 2 years, I really focused on coding, building my skill set, and I became fairly decent at that. I knew object oriented programming well. That was one of the only few things I knew properly. And that's the crux of a lot of things, but that is what I knew. What happened that time was someone, a friend of mine who was actually a DJ, actually one of India's youngest DJs at that point, who was a junior. He and I, we were just talking. We were at a McDonald's after Happy Streets. You know Happy Streets, right? They used to happen back in the day. So it happened at High Street, Balewadi High Street. And after that, he told me, if you can sell 2 tickets of my show, I will give you a free ticket. In fact, I'll give you 2 free tickets. I said, chalo, let's try this. And that is where discovery happened. And this was one of my most important discoveries. It led to a lot of things. It was, I learned I could sell. What happened over there was, I was talking to, I found a group of teenagers. I was like, do you guys like music? They were like, yes. Start having a conversation with them. We talked about, who this is and all. And suddenly I didn't realize I was a little too loud. And, after Happy Streets, McDonald's is filled. It's cramped. It's like 100 people in that small space. So suddenly I was talking so loudly, I didn't realize, but everyone was listening. Now, 100 people suddenly listening to this one scrawny kid who is just talking about some DJ who's sitting there, but everyone was listening. That day, not two, I sold 26 tickets. Okay. And when those 26 tickets sold, this guy was like, do marketing with me. I was like, lovely, I'll do this. And we had big plans. Nothing happened. Like a typical startup, you think that, okay, you're going to do so much, but reality strikes and then you're there. But through that process, I ended up trying to talk to Audi for sponsorship for a big event, talking to Ducati for something like that. Orchid Hotel was ready to be a hospitality partner. And all this when I was what, 17, 18, 19? That is how old I was. And that's where I was like, wow, I can do this. I didn't even know that. So exposure matters. This is what I'm gonna lead to. So now, okay, all this was done, great stuff. He didn't pay me enough. Being a kid, I was like, chhod do yaar, I'm not working with you. Jhagda bhi nahi hua, I just left. Once I left, I realized that, hey, I really like the business side of things a lot more. I'm a Gujarati, half Gujarati. Of course, business to hai, dhanda to hai, right? So after all that, what I did was I taught myself how to market. I taught myself digital marketing and more. I started doing some freelance work, got into a friend, actually dad's friend's company in Mumbai. They do marketing. They're a marketing agency, marketing and business strategy agency. So that's where I worked for like 5 months, got serious experience with dealing with clients, working on different business strategies, marketing strategies, content creation, copywriting, creating posts, Photoshop, how to deal with people, so many things in just 5 months. And yes, my contact helped me because I knew the boss of that place. He was giving me a lot more work way beyond my position. Great experience, great stuff. And then suddenly randomly, like this was during COVID, after the lockdown, during COVID, last few months of 2020, yeah, so August to December. That's when suddenly I was like, I definitely want to stick to business. I came across this profession called management consulting. That is what I am now. But I came across this where you get paid to tell people how to run their business. I was like, beautiful. I get to create strategies, and अगर fail हो गया company, I am out of it. मेरा responsibility नहीं. They took my advice. Lovely job, right? Where you can literally just tell people, अरे तुम्हारा business खराब है, ये profit loss statement पे देखो ये जो चीज है ना, this is not good. इसको बदल दो, इसको निकाल दो. Trust me, I don't tell people to fire people, but everything else I probably do. Okay. So once I got exposure to this, I was like, I want to do this. What's the best way to get there? And somehow, somewhere, I had a girlfriend back in the day. I don't now. I've been through a heartbreak. Okay. So I think some of you can relate, if not all. So she was going to go to the US no matter what. I was like, मेरे पास तो resources भी नहीं है. कैसे जाऊंगा मैं? But then I was like, चलो try कर लेते क्या जाएगा? I'll work a couple years, go for an MBA, something like that. I just called up a consultant. She was like, why are you waiting? COVID है, GRE waived है. Apply करो, तुम्हारा profile अच्छा है because I had so much experience now. Just apply. I applied to 4 places, got in all 4 of them with scholarship, and I was like, oh my God, I feel on top of the world. And then next problem came, पैसा कहाँ से लाए? And that's where I was like, okay, let's work things out. Because remember, we had a gym back in Mumbai that crashed. Parents were not getting loans because of that. So then we were like, okay, there is struggle. Again, a downside. I got into colleges, but अभी पैसा नहीं है, what to do? And somehow you figure ways out. You in research, internet, people talk, everything. Found out that there's a company called Prodigy Finance that gives non-collateral loans. I was like, let's go, let's do it. And that was just what I needed. Got it. Went to Stevens Institute of Technology. It's a beautiful college. इतना बड़ा नाम नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है. It's just that it is located in and around New York. I knew I wanted to do consulting. I wanted to be around business, and New York is the place for it. Now, luckily, I could somewhere afford that, be a part of it. But when I went there, reality strikes again. In the US, people do college, people don't do masters. It is Indians and Chinese people who do masters the most. So when I went there, in my class of say 100 people, 65 were Indians. अरे इतना दूर 7,000 miles जाके क्या फायदा होगा? Believe me or not, 65 Indians, उसके बाद another 10 American Indians. And then you had probably like 10, 12, 13 Chinese, Japanese, etc. And remaining जो भी बच्चे हैं, वो क्लास टू क्लास चेंज होता था. कभी एक स्पेनिश बंदा निकलता था, कोई ये अरे अमेरिकन किधर है? But then I found one person in one class. So that one person was my friend. Also, my roommate was American. His name was Mikey. And he's also an important part of all these stories. Um, so yeah, I did all of this. I kept working hard. Um, there are rules and regulations over there on how you can work. And in all of that, somehow during summer of last year, I ended up having 3 jobs at the same time. I was working as an investment banker, a private equity analyst, and I was working on campus. Circumstances doesn't matter, but that is what I was doing. And that was great experience because you know what I'd done? The investment banking thing. I had worked with a professor on business problems, consulting problems, and I had showed him how good I was. I used to have conversations with him. I went out for lunch with him. I went out for dinner and drinks with him. Everything really build a rapport with him to an extent where he couldn't say no to me when I asked him for an internship. He was like, "Okay, come work with me." Directly, I was working with the managing director of an investment bank. It was his own thing. So not just a managing director, but also the owner of the investment bank. And I got deals. You know what investment banking is? Does anyone know what investment banking is? Anyone? Any idea? Exposure. This is what I'm here for. Okay. So investment banking is banking that involves this involves Mergers and acquisitions. One company buys another bank, another company. What is that? Merger or acquisition. Okay. So everything related to that falls under investment banking. Raising money for a company. Today, a company is going in loss or is doing fine, but needs to raise money to grow. Where do they go? They go to investment banks because they help them raise money either from public. If it is from public, then it's an IPO. Okay. We know what an IPO is, right? Initial public offering. So in that case, that's an IPO. If you want to raise private money, then it goes towards private equity, stuff like that. So all these things fall under investment banking roughly. And I got to be a part of mergers and acquisitions. It's one of the most challenging jobs in the world. Why? Because now you are literally telling your client or whoever you're representing to buy a certain company for, say, $50 million, $100 million, 120, $1 billion, whatever. You're telling them based on certain analysis that you do. Are there synergies between two companies? I am say um, I'm a restaurant chain, okay, and I produce Chinese food. My restaurant chain makes $1 million every year, and that is why now I am at my valuation is somehow at $5 million. But I feel, listen, mera ho gaya. I need to sell my company. Like I cannot grow. I need someone bigger to help. Uh, you know, take me to the next level. What I'll do is, say there was like a mainland China in the US, okay, and I am just a small brand. Mainland China is a big brand. I'll just go to them and be like, hey, do you want to buy me? I will sell you my major stake. You can have control over the company and you can use the 15 locations I have. So in this case, the company that is buying, they will come to us and be like, hey, we have someone who wants to sell their business to us. Is it a good option to buy? We do our analysis. There's a process called due diligence where you study everything about the company in and out, financial statements, processes, employees, senior management, etc., etc., etc. It's a long process, takes 3, 6, 8 months, sometimes even more than that. Okay. How much money is there in this? Crazy amounts. I'll give you a basic breakdown. Remember, Instagram was bought by Facebook for $1 billion. I think 2013, 14, 15, something around that time. The bank representing them was Morgan Stanley. On the other side of the table was Bank of America Merrill Lynch. $1 billion, people make 3% of the deal as their revenue. Okay, so as bankers, if it's a $1 billion deal, you end up making 300 million, 30 million, sorry, $30 million. Now, how much is $30 million in rupees? Someone do the math times 80. How? 250, 240 crores out of one deal that I just advised on and helped do the transaction. So 240 crores. That's a lot of money, right? And now an analyst at the most basic level over there, you know how much they get? Their salary is about $100,000, which is 80 lakh rupees over there. On top of that, if they are a part of a deal like this, their bonus is easily $150,000 at the most basic level. When you get $30 million, it gets split between the people who work on that, and they might even get 200,000, $250,000. So literally, first year analyst, he just got out of college, was smart enough to get into an investment bank. He did that. He ended up with how much? $350,000. That is 2.5 to 3 crores. So I was doing that, but I didn't get paid for it. I worked for free because मेरे को experience नहीं मिल रहा था. Job finding was difficult. I worked with this guy, and I worked not on a $1 billion deal, but on multiple $5, $6 million deals. So the earning also was less. Yeah, I did the same process end to end, which was great because I saw how things work, and then I could apply that at private equity, which was again something related. I don't want to go into it, but that landed me at Simpulse as a management consultant. People ask me, what does a management consultant do? I say we talk bullshit and sell ideas that probably won't ever happen. That is it. But we also solve problems, apparently, and we make everything sound big and glammy. Okay. This is the funny side of it, but the real side is we actually do all of that I told you. It's up to you to believe it or not. Okay. So at Simpulse, I got into the banking industry. They are a consulting firm with about 1,500 people worldwide, 100 people in North America. And I got the job, which was amazing, paid well. I get paid well. And my work is really rewarding because I am 24 years old. I turned 25 in January. I make great money, that's fine. But what's more rewarding, I lead a team of 40 people. 40 people. I'm a product owner within one of the top banks in the world, Morgan Stanley. I also am a part of a lot of projects that, Simpulse has to, venture into. So UBS, one more big bank. We have banks like JP Morgan Chase, HSBC, Deutsche Bank, all these big banks. I have actually spoken to a lot of people who are managing directors over there. And not just spoken to them. Right now at Morgan Stanley, when I work, I report to a managing director. People my age who usually end up the normal way, they have to climb the ladder to get there, to be able to talk. I would say right now I'm equivalent of a VP, a little more than that probably. Just because of all the experiences I had, the knowledge and I had, my ability to speak, my ability to sell, and my ability to draw attention. Of course, I am a problem solver as well. That is given. I have had experience working with all these different kinds of things at a young age, which is great. So this is what I want to tell you guys, that how do you get here? Okay, you don't have to go to the US for that. You don't have to do anything. But before you get there, what's the most important thing? It's to dream about it. This is exactly the life that I dreamt about. I wanted a certain salary, I got it. I wanted to be a management consultant, I got it. I wanted to live on Wall Street. I have a house on Wall Street in New York. I'm not even kidding you guys. I hope you guys know what Wall Street is. Yes, it's one of the most famous streets in the world. If you don't know, I mean, are you living under a rock or a wall? Just for jokes. But yeah, I have a nice place. I am on the 30th floor. There's a rooftop over there. And I'm not kidding you, we're the shortest building over there. Because at 30th floor, all the buildings around me are 40, 50, 60, 70 floors. It's a beautiful sight. But I got there how? Because I really dreamt of it. I wanted to get there. I broke down the process, went step by step by step to get there. And that is what I want to share with you. That how do you really align yourself to a goal, to a dream, and then how do you work towards it to get there? And I'm not going to talk about specific processes, this, that, whatever. You guys are smart enough. You guys are engineers for a reason. Okay. But the most important thing is having that drive, having that motivation to improve certain things that no one talks about. I mean, when people come and talk about these things, everyone talks about, oh, aptitude test ka preparation karo. Resume banao. Resume is very important, but yeah, resume banao. Technical skills बढ़ाओ, learn 10 different things, whatever. But ये सब कर लिया, फिर भी लोगों को जॉब नहीं मिलता है, and मिलता है तो 4 and 5 and 6 lakhs का मिलता है. How do you get to that higher level? It is by the ability of selling, the ability of talking. How many of you here are confident right now that you can speak at least 40, 50, 60% of the way I am speaking here right now? I'm very serious about it. Is there anyone? Lovely, lovely. There you go. But still, in a room of say 100 people, that was just 4 people, 5 people, right? So, is this a skill you should work on? Yeah, and it's not that difficult. People are going to tell you, oh, read newspapers every day, talk in English, this and that. That is given at this point. I'm just going to take it for granted that you all know all this because, yes, that helps. Okay. But what's more important is having that drive, that hunger to go to that next level. Language is never a barrier, especially if you're in India. I mean, at Morgan Stanley, I'm not even kidding you. The floor I sit on, it is 35% Americans, 65% what? Those people who got Morgan Stanley jobs in Bangalore, that's where their office is, they went on site, came to the New York office, and over there, everyone's there. And now, within these people, also, within these people as well, there are some people who are outstanding, but so many of them are so mediocre. Like, ये लोग को कैसे भेजा यहाँ पे? Because they still lack the communication, the socialization skills, the social IQ, whatever you want to call it, the ability to have a normal conversation. I mean, today, any one of you comes to me, I can talk for hours with you. You want to talk F1? I will talk F1 with you. Basketball, I'll talk basketball with you. You want to talk stock market? I'll talk stock market with you. You want to talk about technology, emerging stuff, job market being there, not there. How do you prepare for something? How do you not prepare? Whether or not I know it 100%, I can at least drive a conversation. And in all of this, I'm going to talk about the how. Now, let me look at my notes, make sure I'm not missing anything. Yep. I'm going to diverge from this actually. This makes no sense. How many of you have wanted to drive a Ferrari at some point? A Ferrari? Come on. Of course, right? How many of you are Porsche fans? Nice. Now we're talking. This is wonderful. How many of you have wanted to eat at a Michelin star restaurant? Do you know what that is? Everyone knows. How many of you know what a Michelin star restaurant is? I'll tell you a story around that. One, very few people. Exposure. This is important. Why? Because then you start dreaming of things that you want. So Michelin star restaurants, if you have a Michelin star, that restaurant is said to be at a really high level. They are usually expensive, very expensive, but every year there is an audit that the tire company Michelin does and rates restaurants and gives them stars, five being the highest. Okay, there are some places that rarely get a seven, but that is like one or two in millions. Okay, so Michelin, why they did that? In the older days, in I think Michelin is French. Okay, wherever they're from, main cities had a lot of restaurants and all other good places. But there were some nice places that were away from the city. Michelin, the tire company, wanted to make sure people use their cars more, drive more. That is why they started rating these restaurants away from the city so that everyone travels 50, 60 kilometers just to go there and come back. What happens 50, 60 kilometers versus 5 kilometers? There's a little more tire wear. More tire wear means Michelin makes more money because people are going to change their tires. That was the whole idea. Such a small thing they did now has become iconic. That is how the whole thing came up. How do I know this? I talk to people, conversations, learn from people, be a part of such talks. Okay. The Ferrari thing, the reason why I was telling you guys is because I got to drive a Ferrari. My God, what a car. It's a beast. And forget that, one very important story. When I went to the US, I had never driven a car with a left-hand drive steering. Never. My first experience was driving a BMW 440i with almost 400 horsepower on a track, left-hand drive, and I'm like, holy, this is crazy. And I did that for free. That was the best part. For the Ferrari thing, I had to pay. But US has these opportunities where they have all these luxury cars that you can drive on the track for $300, $400. I saved up money, got one session. That was like When I got my job, that was my gift to myself that, hey, I want to drive that Ferrari. After I drove that Ferrari, I knew I don't want a Ferrari. I want a Porsche instead. But how did I get to know that, okay, my dream about a Ferrari was wrong, but this was a Porsche dream actually, by trying, by experience, by exposure. So, like I was saying, initially, it's very important to dream. How do you dream about something that you have never seen, experienced, known about, or ever been exposed to? Very difficult because our goals are basically dreams that we have had, and we have made a process to get there, and that process makes that dream a goal. Okay, so unless you dream big, people say no, dream big. Who's that guy, Maheshwari, Sandeep Maheshwari? In his talks you'll see him, just be all open, like talk, like dream big, do this, do that, everything. But if you're limited by your thought, if you have not seen the world, if you have not seen what is possible, I mean, people know that, okay, BMWs and Audis and this and that are like all crazy cars. You go to US, they're like normal cars. And I didn't know that. Of course, I got that experience, whatever. But now this is about very materialistic things. But now when it comes to jobs, about your life, about your career, what is important is that you really know what you want. Having that clarity is important. And this is where I'm going to set a process for you guys. That if you follow, you may or may not, you know, grow your dreams, this or that. But one thing that I want you guys to have is a serious drive, and drives don't come without dreams, and dreams is what I'm going to focus on. And the most important thing in all of this is exposure and experience. What is exposure? Okay, one second. Let me go back. What is experience? It is learning something by doing it yourself. What is exposure? You learn something by looking at someone else's experience. That is the only difference. So if you're not getting experience, look for exposure. How do you do? The reason why I asked you about Suits, the reason why I asked you about Billions, about Shark Tank, about all this, is because these are great platforms that show what the world is capable of. All those people who watched Suits, how crazy does it look when Harvey Specter wears that suit on, walks, he talks like that, he's the best closer in town. He drives a old Ferrari in that show in season 5, episode 2, where he has to pick up a girl and he's like, hey, I'll pick you up in a Ferrari. And when you see all that, there are two things. You can either be in awe or be like, hey, how do I get there? But irrespective, now you know that is a possibility, right? Now you know that is a possibility. Now I am telling you there's a possibility that you can easily eat at a Michelin star place. I think there are some in Mumbai, but whatever. You can save up for that. You can go for that. Because when you go to such places, and then you see how people carry themselves, the way people talk, the way they eat, fork and knife, whatever, you start learning and aspiring to be there. I want you guys to get out there, talk to people, of course. I want you guys to use internet, media, everything. I mean, except Moe Moe and Ori doing stupid shit. When you look at Ori, that guy roams around in a Range Rover. That's where he is at. Okay, so now, instead of beating around the bush, let's get into the process. I've told you guys a lot. You know what dreams are, everything is fine. The process, like I said, experience or exposure to important things that can lead you there. For experience, for experience, right now, the most important thing for you guys is to do research. How many of you have dream companies over here that you want to work for? Goals. You have something. What is it? What's a dream company for you? No answer. You, yeah. What's your dream company? Third one. Google for her. Anyone else? Dream companies. No one has dream companies. That's terrible. If you don't have a dream company, how are you going to work towards it? If you want that 22 lakh job, I mean, unless you want it, how are you going to work towards it? Right? Did you know that beyond Google and Amazon, this and that, there are still so many companies? There's Mind Orange, there is Quellis Analytics, something like that. Spinnaker Analytics. Spinnaker Analytics is a tiny company based out of Mumbai that has a branch in Boston, US. Their packages are at 45, 50 lakhs. Now, if you don't know about these, how are you even going to apply there? So, how do you do this? Step one, initiation. Take responsibility, ownership of your own life. Research to get experience and exposure. First, set up a goal. Okay, I want a 15 lakhs job. I mean, anything can be a goal. If your goal is 15 lakhs, great. Just do a Google search. What companies offer you 15 lakhs? You'll get a list of 25, 30, 40, 50. 15 lakhs is not that big a deal. In fact, you'll get 200 companies. 15 lakhs is nothing. When you look at 25 lakh jobs, you get a list of companies. Now you got a list of companies. What's next step? How do you get there? Which year are you guys in? Third, second, first year people? Anyone? Amazing. You guys are the luckiest you're here because this gives you 4 years of time to look for something and build your profile accordingly. Why? Because now you found your dream companies. You made a list of 4, 5, 6 companies based on the salary that you wanted. You now next have to again Google it. What is the interview process for company X? Whatever it is. All this information is there, but no one utilizes it. Why? Even in the US, there are cheap paying jobs. I'll give you the parity, okay? You know what parity is? Under all circumstances, what is the comparison? So 100,000 jobs, which is actually like 80 lakh rupees, is actually equivalent of a 24 lakh job in India because of how expensive things are there, etc., etc. Now 24 lakhs, okay, something. So at 100,000, when you do the comparison, a $60,000 job is equivalent to like a 12, 13 lakh package in the US because of the expenses and all. You think there are no people who get 60,000 jobs from the same college where people get $150,000 jobs? Of course there are. Now the difference is, yes, the lower end is quite high over there, but still the people who don't dream, the people who don't work towards it, the people who don't train themselves are the ones who end up with that lower $60,000 job. इंडिया में जब सुनते हैं लोग, they're like, oh my god, 60,000 jobs, he's making like 40 lakh rupees a year. That's crazy. But reality is, he's at the bottom end of people over there. So what 4 lakh jobs, 5 lakh jobs would be over here at the lower end, over there it's $60,000. And I know friends who have come to the US, spent crores of rupees, come there without scholarship. They end up getting this. What's the difference between them and me? Simple. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I knew the salary I wanted. I knew exactly what I needed to do. And how did I come there? Research. You dig a rabbit hole, you talk to people. I must have spoken to at least 500 different people. Because over there in the US, there is a whole culture of talking, networking. We don't have campus drives. There are no campus drives. यहाँ पे तो अच्छा है. अगर off campus नहीं मिला तो at least on campus interview करने को तो मिल रहा है. All you have to do is clear an aptitude test, a stupid test. And if you're not qualifying aptitudes, please work on that. But the main thing where you sell yourself is in interviews, right? How do you prepare yourself for interviews? Like I told you guys initially, I can talk about anything. You give me a topic, I'll talk about that for half an hour at least. If it's conversational, I can go on for hours. Why do I know this? Because I ended up talking to so many people about so many different things. And this didn't happen in the US, this was here. That helped me really fit in and gel in with people in the US easier. But all that started here. When I did my first internship over here in India, I was working with a startup that did sleep analysis. They're like, who in the world pays for sleep analysis? I'm not kidding you. There are people. When you're rich, people pay for anything. And they would pay 10,000 rupees per sleep analysis. Sleep analysis तुम सो रहे हो उसका बस हराटे ले रहे हो कि नहीं. I mean, बाजू में गर्लफ्रेंड या बीवी है whatever वो बोल देगी तुमको. But people paid for it. And honestly, I did that thing and it was so helpful. We all feel that okay, all these are like just more maya, unless unnecessarily people are paying for it. But when I did that, I realized that the way I was breathing in sleep was not good for me, which is why after working out, my recovery was terrible. I just changed the way I slept, changed positions, and I'm not kidding you, within a month, my recovery was there. And I was like, oh my God, that is why all these rich people have crazy good fitness, this, that, or everything. Because all these small things that for us feel like unnecessary spendings, when you have to do that, it is so important you don't realize. Okay. So when I did that, this was literally end of second year. My boss, so my boss got invited to MasterCard to give a speech. He gave that speech. I was with him, assisting him. He and his daughter was my friend. The two of us ended up at a grown-ups table. That's what I call it for lunch. What is this grown-ups table? It was the CEO India of MasterCard. It was the HR head South Asia. It was tech lead all of Asia. MasterCard CFO was there on that same table. And I'm like, wait a second. I am just a second year guy from JSPM, but I'm here. That's what opened up my mind. Because when I sat there, I just had a conversation and everyone was talking. I said some things. First, I was nervous. I was sweating. I was like, oh my God, खाना नहीं जा रहा. अच्छा married का बोल था, बहुत बढ़िया था. But I couldn't eat. I wasn't. But then somehow they spoke about the topic I knew about, and I said something, and the point was so good. For the next 20 minutes, everyone is talking back to me. जब ग्रुप में बात कर रहे हैं किसी ने एक अच्छा पॉइंट बोल दिया तो उसके साथ सब बात करने लगते हैं. Same thing happened, but the CFO is talking to me. CEO is talking to me, and I'm like, oh my God, how? And that's when I realized, hey, people at the top also are humans. But they also talk about बीवी के problem. They also talk about अरे खाना में नमक कम था. अरे this thing is a problem. And that's when you realize, hey, what is different about them? Nothing. The only thing is they had direction. They worked towards it. They had a vision, and they really struggled and got there. And once they're there, you look at them as, oh my God, some crazy people. But they are crazy. They are crazy about getting there. They are crazy about wanting that certain lifestyle. I mean, I am not kidding you right now. For me, myself, at 24, I know exactly what my house is going to look like when I'm 30. And that's what I'm going to work towards. I know I am going to have a 911 Turbo S in this certain white color with black wheels and a red top convertible, probably a Targa. I know exactly the model, how much it costs $233,000 today. The monthly payment for that is going to be close to $4,500 after I put down a $40,000 down payment. I know my dreams in that much detail. And only when you really think about it and get into it, break it down, you are passionate about it, that's when you're going to work around it, work towards it. I mean, if I ask any one of your dream car, what do you know about your dream car? Ferrari चलाना है, but कौन सा Ferrari? एक आता है 2 करोड़ में आता है, एक आता है 8 करोड़ का आता है. कौन सा चाहिए? I will. Some people are like, मेरे को पता नहीं. That's almost everyone. See, this is where I'm coming at. Why dreams are important? Because now you don't even have a goal. For me now, Porsche is not a dream; it's a goal. By 30, I want that Porsche standing in my garage, and I know how my house is gonna look, how I'm gonna get there. See, I'm not much older than you guys, but I've achieved a lot. I manage a team of 40 people. Literally, I'm not kidding you. My tech lead, he came up to me and he was like, "My daughter is graduating from college. Do you have any tips for her to find jobs?" She is 3 years younger than me. His daughter is 3 years younger than me. He's twice my age, and he reports to me. Now, of course, I am talking more about the glam part of things. But what was the work I put in when I was here at JSPM? Like I told you, I got that first gig with that DJ. What I used to do, I used to come to college, stay here till 3 o'clock, and then I think last class I used to bunk. Don't take that, but I probably used to bunk last class, second half, whatever, and I used to go and work. I'm not kidding you. I worked like crazy for 5 months. I used to come home at 9 o'clock. And that was it. That was my day to day, and that used to excite me because I knew what my goal was, and I knew this work is going to add up to that. Okay. So this is what I want you guys to get in yourself: the hunger, the desire. You all watch movies, you all watch shows, you all watch things. But whenever we see something extravagant, it feels unachievable. You see a supercar, like unachievable. I forget that 30 lakhs का Audi देखते हो ऐसा लगता है नहीं होगा. I mean that is not true. You know how much salary you need to comfortably own a car that is close to 50 lakh rupees? Any guesses? Salary monthly कितना पैसा चाहिए to own a car that is 50 lakhs? Someone, anyone? Give me a guess. 5 lakhs per month? Very close. It's actually 4.4 lakhs. It's even less than that. The way it works is, of course, there are personal finance rules that you apply to it. That okay, your down payment has to be a certain amount, this and that. But if you're at a 4.4 lakh salary per month, you can do it. How much is that package? 412, 412 है 36 ना 48. तो मेरे को मैथ भी नहीं आता. 48. So like you said, 60 lakhs C2C. You know how many companies offer that in India? 60 lakhs. Pick every MNC. They have a job that pays you 60 lakhs. And of course, this is not a stage one that, oh, you're out of college, you get there. But people get there within 5, 6, 7 years. I have a relative right now. He started working at Atos Centel for 3.2 lakhs. Right now, he actually works at Morgan Stanley, surprisingly. He was the first one from the family to work there. His package is 49 lakhs, and he only has 7 years of experience, 6 years of experience. 6 years of experience, you're at 49 lakhs in India. Remember, I told you the parity 23 lakhs is 24 lakhs is $100,000. So this is equivalent of a lifestyle of $200,000 in the US within 7 years. And frankly, that is a very similar progression in the US also. So now that I'm putting these numbers in your head, that okay, for a 50 lakh car, सबसे सस्ता Audi, if you buy second hand and if you get a car that is like 5, 6 years, they depreciate like crazy. For 15 lakhs, you'll get an Audi. For 15 lakhs, you can own an Audi. Is that a dream unattainable? No. And for 15 lakhs, you don't need the craziest salary. 22 lakhs salary mein ho jayega. And 22 lakhs salary is so much easier. Like companies offer that to freshers. You've seen instances over here. See, the problem with our generation is जब तक कैरेट नहीं दिखाओ ना उसके पीछे भागोगे नहीं. तुमको जब तक बोला नहीं जाता कि अरे ये पॉसिबल है तुम लोग देखो भी नहीं. That's a problem, right? So now, okay, we got this thing ki around 22 lakhs where you can easily own a luxury car. And there's nothing wrong with buying second hand. In fact, that makes more sense, especially when you're talking luxury cars. But yeah, so now we know it is possible to own an Audi or Mercedes at like a 22 lakh salary. Now, how do you get there? How do you reverse engineer that? You need to get the job, right? How do you get the job? You build your profile. And how do you build your profile? What is a profile? Can someone give me an example of a good profile? What does a good profile have? I think Bode sir has mentioned this word a lot, right? Profile, profile, yes or no? Like you have to build your profile. But profile cheese क्या होती है? Raman, tell me, फुस फुस मत करो यार. We're all interacting. Anyone? Tell me. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Clap, please. This is great. Good projects, good experience, extracurriculars, communication is key. And how do you get these things? Connections is one thing. Hard work, hard work is a great thing, but more than hard work, I feel it is persistent hard work. You need to continue that hard work throughout. ऐसा नहीं कि आज लास्ट 3 महीने मैंने बहुत हार्ड वर्क किया कुछ क्यों नहीं आया. I mean, you work hard for 1 year right now. That is still 25% of your whole college life. Only 25. You have to keep working hard. I worked hard. I got there. But you have to continue that. That's one. What's more important than persistent hard work is persistent hard work in a direction. Now think about this example, okay? Very, very important. Let's say I have 5 blocks, 5 bricks, okay? 5 bricks I need to move from one place to the other, and I don't know where to keep it. So now I have taken 200 steps going here, यहाँ पे रखना है, यहाँ पे रखना है, यहाँ पे रखना है, यहाँ पे रखना है, कहाँ पे रखना है. 200 steps लिया, बाद में पता चला, अरे what I was looking for was 5 steps away. This is where direction matters. And direction comes from dreams. You have a dream, 22 lakhs now. For example, 22 lakhs is a dream. What is the next step? Google search. Which companies offer me 22 lakhs? Make a list of that. Once you make a list of that, easy next step, very easy next step. Look up Glassdoor, Indeed.com, etc., etc. What is the interview process? How do you get there? And at this point in India, these top companies, they don't hire only out of IITs and ITs and all. It is nationwide online application. Of course, having that brand name helps, but you are not limited by that. So now you have a list of companies, you have what the interview process is like, you probably found interview questions around that. How are you going to improve your chances of getting there? No one thinks about this over here, but in the US, like I said, we don't have campus drives. So we beg and plead and run behind what? Referrals. How do you get referrals? Connections, of course, but how do you build connections when you don't know someone who works at, say, a Google point two, some company that exists that pays you 22 lakhs? You use your LinkedIn. Very, 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 very important. Build up your LinkedIn, reach out to people on LinkedIn who work at this company called Google 2.0. That is going to pay you 22 lakhs. Right? So everything done. Shortlist ho gaya. You've selected these 5, 6 companies. You've seen what kind of questions and all are there. Next step to improve your chances is to get a referral into the company. Of course, you're going to apply online and everything, but getting that referral helps. That might not guarantee anything, but at least if it improves your percentage chances by 5% also, that's great. So now you get your referral, reaching out to people who work at that company and be like, hey, I am XYZ. I'm a engineering student looking to apply to Google 2.0, a company where you work at. I would love to have a chat with you about your experience working there, what your day to days are, and some more questions that you can have. I want to understand the company culture. What is your working day to day? Have you ever thought of what questions you could ask someone? Okay, today, let's take it a step back. I told you I work as a consultant, fine. Is anyone interested in knowing what my day to day is? सुबह से शाम क्या होता है? तो पूछा क्यों नहीं? You know, that kind of a thing. Of course, I didn't give you a chance to ask. But the thing is, when you are curious about this, that what in the world makes me earn more than 1 crore of rupees every year, what do? You've got to ask, right? Now, of course, there will be some people over here who will come to me and talk to me about it, will reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I will help them for sure. But what about the rest, right? So this is where I want you guys take that step back and work on your LinkedIn and use LinkedIn to reach out to people, talk to people, start a dialogue, start a samvad with people. You start talking to them, start building a rapport with them. Now, if anyone comes to me, firstly, on what basis will I talk to them, give them my time? Time is expensive. What do I get in return? If I can at least get a good conversation out of it, I will be happy. And conversation doesn't have to be just work. You have their LinkedIn profile, you see which schools they went to and this and that. You get some idea about, oh, you were here, you went to this school. You know, I was in the neighboring school. You're from Pune, I'm from Pune as well. You're from this Gao, I'm from there as well. LinkedIn can give you so much information, utilize that information and build that rapport with these people. It's not just work. And of course, have your work questions ready. And there is a YouTube video for every single thing that I've told you. How to reach out to people on LinkedIn is probably 2000 different videos on LinkedIn. Where did I learn it from? From there. I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't have crazy. I built crazy contacts. I didn't have crazy contacts. I had limited 5, 7 people with whom I could practice. Yes, okay, this is how you talk, this is how you do everything. Fine. But the real ability to talk to these people and all came from YouTube that I taught myself. I thought my dad will help me through everything. Dad ko kuch pata hi nahi. Dad is a doctor. Doctors haven't lived a corporate life. So for them to relate to how these corporate networkings work is difficult. That's fair. Then that is where YouTube comes in, Google comes in. Please utilize these resources. Now I'm giving you some kind of a direction. This is how you can break down your goal. Come to a number, everyone. That this is the number that I want. You guys follow this guy, Finance with Sharan. कभी तो रील देखा रहेगा कुछ तो. Follow Finance with Sharan. He does all that stuff. But what he talks is so much sense. He talks personal finance, how to budget, how to do things around managing money, investing money, what percentage, what do you need to buy a car, the 20-40-10 rule, etc., etc., etc. Now, if you don't know what the 24-10 rule is, do you know what that is? You should always, if you're buying a new car, you should put down 20% of the car's payment. Okay. You shouldn't take a loan for more than 4 years. And the monthly payment shouldn't exceed 10% of your payment, the monthly EMI. So now use that logic. If you're doing it that way, then you have enough money to explore and do more things. So now someone who gets 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs, say 10 lakhs a month, what is 10% for them? 1 lakh rupees. 1 lakh rupees per month का payment easily manage कर सकते हैं. And 1 lakh payment, mein usually you get cars that are like 2, 3, 4 crores. That is a monthly payment. Because a car that costs you like 6 lakhs, 7 lakhs, their monthly payments are like 12, 15,000 rupees. The higher you go, it's like it compensates. Interest rates are lower when you go higher. Because of all these reasons, now you guys didn't know this, but how would you know it? Expand your horizons, right? So now I've given you something to take away. We know what the importance of dreams is. Without dreams, you won't have goals. Once you have, when does a dream turn to a goal? Turns to a goal when you create a process around reaching there. Okay, now you created a process. Now let's keep everything materialistic, very easy. All you need is a list of dream companies, dream salaries, kind of work. Explore. Anyone's interested in AI, ML, वहाँ पे कितना पैसा है? इतना, like people are just throwing money over there. I mean, I literally sometimes feel, why am I in the US? Like, just come here. I'll probably get paid more. यहाँ पे सब लग्जरीज है. वहाँ पे खुद का लॉन्ड्री करना पड़ता है, बर्तन धोना पड़ता है, झाड़ू खुद करो, पोछा खुद करो. आफ्टर डूइंग वर्क and everything, being alone, lonely, वहाँ पे. I'm not kidding. You know, when I traveled, so I came here last Friday. -6 डिग्रीज था वहाँ पे. -6 से इधर आया 30 में. I was like, ये क्या है? I am giving up on like decent weather. चलो यहाँ पे गर्मी बहुत ज्यादा है. पर यहाँ पे एसी पूरा दिन ऑन रखा ना, फिर भी पनोड़ता है. वहां पे पूरा दिन ऑन रखा ना, it racks up. The price racks up. Now, of course, there you earn that much, so you can afford it. But anyone in their right mind wouldn't. What problems है वहाँ पे रहने के? But if I was into AIML, I'm a finance guy, and for me, the world of finance is there. I switched, right? मैं engineer करके खुश नहीं था. I wanted more. I felt that was my thing. I went there. I think most of us somewhere or the other either are like, okay, I really want to do engineering or I really want to leave engineering. वही दो चीज रहता है, कोई बीच में नहीं रहता है कि हाँ बस करते चलो. जो भी करते चलो है ना, बैक ऑफ द माइंड दे हैव और कुछ और करना है, राइट? जो भी करना है. This is now especially the people over here who want to go outside tech. I am an example here. How many of you don't want to stick to tech? Very honestly asking. You want to leave tech, leave tech, leave tech. Amazing. If I ask you, once you leave, what do you want to do? What's your passion? What are you interested in? You tell me. You only. Exactly. You're in which year? There you go. Good time to be exploring. Right now is a good time. Who else raised their hand? You raised, right? Sports gamer. There you go. Great stuff. Anyone else? Who raised their hands? I really want to know, because if I can help you, I will help you right now. Tell me. HR management. Great stuff. Someone raised their hands over here. Great stuff. I'm a product owner. So this is great. You can talk to me. Automation of marketing stuff. So yeah, automation is tech. So, but that's a good business application of it. Great. He has some vision. What else? No one over here wants to get into finance, stock market. I'm just asking. But yeah, so coming back to it, like I said, now that all these goals and all have been discussed about, your process starts with the classifying and making all a list of these companies, breaking down their process, really start build your profile. Now this is the last topic I'm going to touch right now, the profile building. I don't want to keep talking, but profile building, like we briefly discussed, is so many different aspects. How do you make a profile good is important, but how do you sell your profile is more important and not spoken about. Someone over here might have Great projects. Arey, I built probably an automated robot, something follows a line. That's the easiest thing. But yeah, so I built a robot. I built a drone that has some certain functionality. Someone had come up to me saying, I want to build a drone that flies and can go in the water as well. That's a cool project. But now, if this person came up to me and said, say this drone never worked, it was an idea, he worked towards it, but it didn't work. There are two ways he could have told me this. First one is, I had a drone project that did not work. And this is what most people do in an interview, in whatever. Firstly, if it did not work, they will not even bring it up. But what if I sold this idea to someone, the interviewer in this case, saying I had plans to build a drone based on a need I saw that wasn't being solved. Like drones can fly, that everyone knows. But what if this was an amphibian drone? This could go in water also. Then making drone shots over lakes would be easier. That was my goal. I wanted to do that. And so I started building it. I couldn't make it, but I got really close to it. I had the process skeleton done. I tried one or two prototypes, but it failed. Now, as an interviewer, I'm like, oh my God, I don't care if it failed or worked. चल भी गया होता तो मैं कब देखने वाला हूँ? I'm not going to even check. But one thing that he really conveyed over here was he really worked towards it. Only when you have worked towards it can you speak this much about it. Or you're a really good bullshitter or a consultant. Okay. So this is where it really matters how you sell your stuff. Yes, get experience. Good thing is you have the 6 month long internship program. In my time, I didn't have that, and I desperately wanted it. I had to go to Mumbai to do my marketing and business strategy internship. नहीं मिल रहा था. Everyone was like, at the most 45 days मिल जाएगा. अरे 45 days में क्या मिलेगा मेरे को? Nothing. So that is why you are in a good spot where you get an internship and also really work towards getting it. The ones who have already done, great job. But the ones who are about to get internships, look for internships. Go beyond just campus stuff. Talk to people. Look at things you are interested in. I mean, if you can make a case for yourself that, hey, I really don't want to do engineering, मेरे को business strategy सीखना है, and I have already spoken to a boutique consulting firm जहाँ पे they are going to give me some experience. Who's gonna say no to that? No one. And Bode sir and all, everyone is like very supportive of all that. So you get all that is done. Now for that, you have to create that case, right? You know, in my case, I had gone to Bode sir about uh, I wanted an internship on the business side of things. So literally after convincing him like 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, he was like, okay, let me get you an interview. There's a company called Sankey Solutions in Mumbai. An interview for they still recruit right from here. I don't know. Yeah, so they had a 12 lakh package back then. I got selected for that. As soon as I gave the interview, I took a bus to Mumbai. I gave an interview with them, and when I reached Sankey, उन्हें अच्छा कौन से पोजीशन के लिए चाहिए ये कौन सा stack? I think they had a database role and they had a front end role. I was like, no, ma'am, I've not come for either one of them. I've come here for a. They're like, acha. So made me wait for 2 minutes. CEO of Sankey, and the CEO of Sankey is someone who was a US return. He had gone to Chicago Booth School of Business for a while. He had done engineering, and that guy and we spoke for 3 hours. I'd gone for an interview. We spoke about life, we spoke about sports, we spoke about everything. That company did not give money for interns, and they were a small company. Their highest package, I think, was 3. They were ready to offer me almost 60,000 rupees stocks and more to work with them. It wasn't about how much, but how much more compared to everyone else. Why? Because for 3 hours I could maintain a conversation with them. I could sell what I did. And of course, what I did, I trained myself. I've done so many courses online. I have spoken to people about it. I mean, today, when you say you want to become an app developer, what do you do? It's about it. You build some own things. You watch YouTube, everything. But what's the next? You get in touch with an Android developer. What kind of apps does he build? What are the few things he looks forward to? Now, experience is so valuable. But if you're not going to reach out to them and get their experience, get exposure through someone else's eyes, what they have done, then you're not using your full potential. There is so much that can be done. I want you guys, everyone, to start at the dream level, make them goals, break it down, work, reverse your engineers, and then build this profile. But in the process, look up YouTube videos on how to sell your experience in interviews, how to give interviews. The most important question, tell me about yourself, how to give that properly. Learn all of this, dive deep, spend some time on this. And of course, like I said, work hard is important, but work hard with persistence and direction. Rather, direction and persistence. So without direction, you're not doing anything. So, yeah, I think that is all that I had to say to you guys. Questions, anything. My experience, my life, fun stuff that I've done. But I got my first tattoo, by the way. That's just been like one of those things I wanted. I'm getting a second tattoo soon. So, also, in all of this, I've told you a lot of like crazy stuff. But in all of this, I had a full-time girlfriend for 6 years. I used to do dance. I'm an international winner in dance. I'm a dancer. I play music in New York. I play at bars. I play music at bars. I do live music. I have all the fun in the world, and everything I'm working towards is to have more fun. I started my job in January. In June, with friends, I went to Spain. I lived that Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara thing. I didn't do skydiving, but I went there. And now, after this, I am going to London. Why? Because now, of course, I can afford it and all, but more like visa mil gaya meko in time. That's it. So yeah, any questions, anything, whatever it is, quickly. I don't want to take more time. Tell me. What about my job? My day to day is being a consultant. Morgan Stanley hired me. They hired me to help them implement certain solutions. And I am building two products. One of them is for client transfer within the firm. So if they have certain products, if someone has a retirement account, if they want to move that money into an investment account, I build a product that, enables all that transfer. That's one. Number two is e-sign, electronic signatures. Now everyone uses DocuSign in some way or the other. Everything is getting digitalized. So my team manages a whole repository of 400 different forms, and we have built a whole product internally that manages everything from form updates to form receivals, etc., etc. This is generally what the product is, but I manage the teams that build this thing. So I deal with managing directors and executive directors at Morgan Stanley who come with the business requirement. I understand that, talk to my tech leads, discuss it with them, make sure everything is aligned, everyone is aware and knows what kind of work is going to be done. And then I manage these people and make sure the work is done in time by the time we have promised. So day to day, this is what I do. Along with that, there is a strategy component where what are your goals for the next 6 months, 1 year with the product, large scale, whatever. So this is more or less the kind of day to day that I have. I think you asked investment banking as well, right? That's a long conversation that I will reserve. If there are more people who want to know, you can stay. I'll stay here for some time. But yeah, any other question? Nice. Beautiful. And I guess that is it. That was my time. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys had a little fun in all of that boring talk. So thank you. That was it. Thank you so much. Like you said, that direction is between. So we hope that you will follow with this. Your stories and advices resonated deeply with this. I'm sure it will help important to your life. Mm-hmm. I hope so. Thank you. I'm here for some time. If you guys want to have a one-on-one dialogue with me, I'm here. So yeah, thank you. Sure.